Hi and welcome back. Thank you so much for joining us in today's video. My name is Nicole with morningchores.com and today I'm going to show you how to clean beeswax. Today I thought we'd talk about the different uses of beeswax and why you might want to learn how to work with this product. And I'm going to show you how to clean it so that you can use it to make beautiful candles, which is what I like to make it with. And I will be demonstrating how to make those beeswax candles in the next video. So make sure you hit the subscribe button and click the little bell notification icon so that way you won't miss a video. Beeswax is the foundation of the bee's nest. It's used to cradle the next generation of bees, but it's also used as the bee's food warehouse. And what's really exciting about beeswax is that we've learned how to use it for a lot of different products. Things like cosmetics, creams, salves, furniture polishes, or my favorite way to use beeswax is making beeswax candles. And I'll be showing you how to do that in the next video. You can buy beeswax already ready to go to make into whatever product you want to make it into, whether that's a lotion, a cream, or a candle. But I actually like to buy beeswax that's not fully rendered just because you can get it at a lot cheaper of a price. And that's a win-win in my book. But you do have to do an extra step to get the beeswax more pure so that you can use it to make, in my case, candles. So that's what I'm going to demonstrate for you today. It's a really simple step. It does take a little bit of time, but the hands-on time is very minimal and it's super easy to do. So for me, it's worth saving the money just to do this extra step. So as you can see, this beeswax is very dirty. There's a lot of dirt and grime still in the wax, so you would definitely not want to use this to make products as is, just because you're gonna have all those impurities in your product, and we don't want that. So our goal with cleaning the wax is to remove all of this dirt and grime, and it's really easy to do once I show you how to do it. The other thing I want to point out is beeswax gets what's called a bloom on it. So this beeswax has been sitting for a while, and when beeswax sits, and this is true even when you make beeswax products like candles, is it gets this film on it, and this film is called a bloom. And the nice thing about the bloom is if you just take a microfiber cloth, you can buff it away and it's perfectly fine. But that is something you want to keep in mind when you do make products, especially candles, because if you make candles and they sit for a while, they will accumulate this bloom on them, and you can just buff it away with a microfiber cloth. Along with the beeswax, our supplies include water, a large pot, and a heat source such as an electric stove. Our first step in our beeswax cleaning process is you want to use a large pot, preferably one that you don't care much about, because it is going to get wax residue on it and it's very hard to clean off. So preferably use a pot that you don't really use for cooking, and you want to make sure it's pretty large. We're going to take our beeswax, place it in the pot. Once we have our beeswax in the pot, next is to add the water. We want to add enough water to cover the beeswax. The beeswax will float, so make sure there's enough water to keep the wax from resting on the bottom of the pan. Melt the beeswax from medium to medium-high heat. Now that we have our beeswax and water in the pot, we have the lid on, the heat on. This is the part that takes a really long time because you want to melt the beeswax slowly. You don't want to melt it too quickly or heat it up too high in temperature because you could actually corrupt the beeswax. So we have to heat it up slowly. So this is nice because you can kind of walk away, go do some other chores or things, and then come back a little bit later. So that's exactly what I'm gonna do. So I'll see you back here in a little bit. I'm gonna go take care of some extra chores around the house. My beeswax has been on the stove for about an hour, and you can see there's a few chunks left. So we want to make sure all of that is melted before I turn the heat off to cool. So you just keep that in mind. Like I said, it's very slow going, but it's one of those things that you can just kind of leave sit and do its thing and come back and check it periodically through the process. So we'll see you back here in a little while. The beeswax is fully melted, so we will turn off the heat and begin the cooling process. It's about an hour later and you can see that the wax is beginning to harden, but it still needs time to cool down a little bit more. So it's been about an hour more, maybe 2 hours since I've last checked my beeswax. And as you can see, it is hard, but the water is still very warm, so it's probably still soft on the other side. So I'm gonna let this sit a little bit longer, and then hopefully by then it'll be cool enough that we can take it out of the pot. We just finished our first process of cleaning the wax with water. That's the purpose of the water, is to clean the wax. It almost acts like a filter. And as you can see, the yellow is a lot brighter. It's also more consistent in color, and this is exactly what we want. So what's interesting though is once the wax hardens, all of the impurities sink to the bottom of the wax. So now we have all this dirt and grime at the bottom of our wax block, and all of this dirt was intermixed into the wax, giving it that brown color, that really yucky brown color. So now it's all to the bottom. So the next step is to scrape off as much of this as we can. Once I feel like I've gotten it to a good spot, we're going to start the water process all over again, and we're going to do it several times until I'm happy and satisfied with the final product. So as you can see, I got most of it off, but I'm not gonna worry about getting it all off just because I feel like I'll take too much of the wax with it. So I'm gonna go ahead and repeat the process of putting it in the pot and adding water to it and heating it up and doing the same process all over again. And you'll see each time we do it, there will be less and less of this brown stuff and more of the golden yellow that we really, really want. So it's the next morning and I'm simply repeating the process. I added the wax to the pot, added the water, and turned on the heat. So now I'm just going to step away and allow time for the wax to melt. It has been about 2 hours and the wax is completely melted. There's not as many impurities the second time around. I'm going to clean the wax for one more round, making it a total of 3 times. Thank you so much for joining me in today's video. I hope it was helpful. As I mentioned earlier in the video, you can buy beeswax that's already cleaned and ready to go to make candles or cosmetics or whatever you have your heart set on. I just like to do it this way because it's a cheaper way for me to obtain beeswax, and it really doesn't take that much time or effort to clean the wax and get it to the quality that I want for my candles or whatever it is I'm making. Be sure to stay tuned for the next video where I demonstrate how to make candles with the beeswax that we just cleaned in today's video. You can also head over to morningchores.com where you'll find even more information on gardening, homesteading, and sustainable living. Hope you guys have a wonderful week, and we'll see you on the next one.